Welcome to the Heart of Innovation. 60 minutes that can save life and limb with new breakthrough ideas and innovation changing the healthcare landscape. Brought to you by patient advocacy group thewaytomyheart.org in partnership with Cardiovascular System Incorporated's patient advocacy campaign, Take a Stand Against Amputation. Here are your hosts for the Heart of Innovation, Emmy Award-winning journalist and founder of The Way to My Heart, Kim McNicholas, and interventional cardiologist and founder of the Save My Piggies Health Education Series, Dr. John Phillips.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. You know, about 10 years ago, while I was working as a journalist for Forbes magazine, I was approached by a PR specialist, Michelle Newberg, about interviewing a CEO of a computer storage company. Storage. Yawn. It was also not my beat. So that, consider that. So I politely declined. Next thing I knew, I had UPS at my doorstep with a large package. I opened it to find a broken drum head. No, I didn't know what it was at first. It looked to me like a busted paper hoop that an animal like a dog would have just jumped through at a circus. Fellow journalist who is also a musician helped me to figure out exactly what it was and that it belonged to an avid drummer. Now, curious to find out the source of this rather odd mailing, I called the phone number that was written across the drumhead. It was Michelle, again pitching the same CEO. This time she had a new angle, though. CEO Kevin Brown was an executive who lived an extraordinary and rewarding life outside of the boardroom as both an avid musician and a wannabe chef. The pitch fit perfectly into my Forbes video series called Personal Best. Turns out he would cook extraordinary group meals to entice investors and potential partners into coming over for conversations about his business ideas. So I invited myself to one of these dinners, and he put me to work cooking alongside him for a very large crowd of hungry Silicon Valley folks. The video we put together was one of several that we submitted for an Emmy nod, and we were in fact nominated for an Emmy in the San Francisco Bay Area for our Personal Best series, in much thanks to Kevin Brown's amazing story. Well, his story gets even better because he has now turned his passion for food into his profession, making his business prowess just as enticing as his gourmet. And I can't wait, John, to tell you more about what's in it.
I read your notes before the show. I must have not read them with enough attention, because that's a fascinating story, number one. Number two, I love to cook as well, and I love food. And number three, where do I find this video or these videos? Because definitely want to check them out.
You know, I think that one might be still up on the web somewhere. It might be up on Forbes' website. I will have to find that for you and share that with you. We might have to put it in the show notes.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Put a link to it. Let's do it. But
you've seen me in the kitchen, so you know.
Yeah, that show was super fun. I mean, kind of because it was healthy, which is what we're going to talk about too. And you had a good time, and your dad was there. So Thanksgiving is coming up pretty soon. You were, damn near in September. So before you know it, we'll be doing another Thanksgiving show. Although I'm on call, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Ooh, you know what? Maybe we have Kevin come in and co-host with us, and he'll cook in his kitchen. Yes. I'll cook in mine, and maybe we get one of our friends who we always see on here, Marcia, who's always cooking in the background here on our Zoom channel during our radio broadcast. Maybe we get her to jump in as well. So that might be really fun.
Indeed, it would be.
So I'm really excited to get Kevin in here. So why don't we just kick things off with a moment of inspiration?
Dr. John Phillips' spectacular vascular moment of inspiration.
So, in prepping for this show, I was learning about Kevin and the app that he has, and he's an innovator in food. And I think, getting food to people, the right types of food. So I thought to myself, gosh, who's an innovator of food these days, or a former innovator of food? And, who other than George Foreman, right? The Foreman Grill. So, I don't know how innovative that was, but he's got a lot of quotes, right? So I was kind of picking through something, and this is a quote about being a hero. we had a pretty bad case a couple of days ago in our cath lab, and everybody kind of banded together, and I always say pull the rope in the same direction, and we didn't think this patient was going to make it, and looks like she's going to pull out. So there are a lot of heroes in healthcare, and our nurses were fantastic, and our techs were fantastic, and I was kind of the lead physician because it was my case, but I had a lot of other folks helping me. So a lot of heroes in that room. So anyway, this is a quote from George Foreman about heroes. And he says, heroes have a rough time because they stand up when they ought not to. They speak when they ought not to, and they always have to go the extra mile. So there you go. Be a hero, stand up, speak out when you don't think you should, and always go the extra mile.
It's so interesting that you said that. It almost brings tears to my eyes because this week I had a patient that was over in Southern Indiana, and she went through the emergency room, and the hospitalist actually said, you know what, there's nothing we can do. The interventional cardiologist said, it's not even worth attempting to unblock the arteries in her legs. We need to send her to another hospital to chop off her legs. And it was like, whoa, wait, stop for a moment. And I was trying to educate the hospitalist and his team of fellows about the options that are available and the fact that there are different practices that treat PAD. There are different levels of skill sets for treating PAD. And the gentleman that was there that had me and holding up the phone, the friend of the patient, called me afterwards, and he said, gosh, this guy was just rolling at his eyes and the team was rolling their eyes. And it was like, you know what? I still, no matter if you're just speaking to a bunch of naysayers and no matter what, you have to just keep speaking up. You have to keep speaking up. I know I'm not a doctor, but you know what? I have experience, and I really believe in what we stand for, that every patient deserves the best chance of standing on two feet.
You're exactly right. You're a patient advocate first and foremost. And I had a patient in the office earlier this week who had lost a toe, and we saved his foot. And then on the right side, he ended up losing more toes due to infection. And he was a little bit kind of morose about the whole process. And he thought, man, if I could have just got to somebody earlier, and he just happened to come to me. And it's the whole Save My Piggies things. It's this whole podcast and radio show that we do about patient advocacy and raising awareness. So kudos. And finally, the last thing I'll say is your microphone is cooler than mine because it's blue and it's smaller, and mine's just this clunky thing. So I'm sorry.
And actually, the funny thing you said, that the guy that got it for me is one of our patients that we ended up saving in Indiana. And he was the one that I had on the phone. He was the one holding the phone, advocating for his friend in the hospital this week. Circle. Is that weird?
Yeah,
so he's the one who got me this microphone. Yeah, definitely.
Let's get to Kevin, huh?
I think so. But, I just, Kevin actually has taught me so much about speaking up for what I believe and has given me so much confidence. When I was at Forbes magazine and being on the phone with me for hours and hours and helping to affirm my voice, in the Valley and in technology. So I do owe a lot to him and helping with my confidence and speaking out for what I believe in. So Kevin, again, thank you.
Let's get going.
You can tell we go way back.
Let's bring Kevin on board.
Kevin?
Great. Well, first off, it's great to be here. I'm so proud of the work that you guys are doing to help people, to advocate, to stand up and really, sort of educate and help people get better care. And I've been working in parallel on some other, sort of areas that I think are really converging. So I think it'll be fun to talk through that. And, you've been the same inspiration for me.
Have you really felt as though, just keying off of the quote that John mentioned really quickly in the next 30 seconds, have you had a moment where you have felt like, hey, you know what, I need to stand up, I need to go against the naysayers, and I need to speak up in this space?
As an entrepreneur for the last 25 years, there's a lot of that kind of resilience and just stubbornness that is needed. And so we started working on some of this stuff before anyone was thinking about it, and some called us crazy. But we've been really trying to move the needle and really help people eat and live better. And now we've had a chance to touch millions of people and start to make a difference. So we just launched some new technology we're hoping is going to multiply that.
And we're going to hear all about it coming up right here on the Heart of Innovation. So stay with us.
Leg health can indicate risk for heart attack, stroke, and amputation. If you have leg pain or cramps while walking, get checked for peripheral artery disease or PAD. PAD is plaque buildup in mainly the leg arteries. Be sure to ask your physician for an ankle brachial index, also called an ABI test, where they use blood pressure cuffs to analyze the blood pressure in your legs. If they discover you have arterial plaque that's limiting blood flow to your feet, medicine and a regimented walking program are frontline treatment. If PAD is in its advanced stages, your physician may schedule a surgical intervention. Minimally invasive tools are available to remove plaque and restore blood flow, including Cardiovascular System's Diamondback 360 atherectomy system, which sands away plaque that is a hard calcium. It's important to discuss all options with your physician, and if told you have no options, get a second opinion. Take a stand against amputation. For more information, go to standagainsamputation.com. That's standagainsamputation.com.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. We are talking to founder and CEO of a company called Innit. It is a technology platform for helping you live a better, healthier life through better choices with food. And they're using new technology to help you do that. We're going to hear all about that in a moment. But Kevin Brown and I met, about 10 years ago. He was CEO of a storage company, and his PR agency was so creative to try and get my attention and worked really hard. And I think, we talked about Michelle Newberg being on the front lines with that, the PR specialist. And but Susan Thomas, was the CEO of Tenfold and, really had a strong culture in helping to get the story out there on amazing CEOs like you, Kevin.
Yeah, she's really special and someone that really cares also about the mission of what we're trying to do. So it was great to be together with folks like that and do a little cooking.
So Kevin,
I was just going to say, was that night that we spent at that dinner a catalyst for driving you to turn your passion for food into your profession?
Well, absolutely. And it let me feel that there were people behind me that were, sort of excited and ready to help. And that's what it's about is, how do we help each other to really have the courage to jump in and do something that's a little bit uncertain, but that could have a big impact.
So what is the question or the problem, I guess, that you're trying to solve with Innit?
Yeah. So if you think today, everything has the easy button. You push a button on your phone, a car shows up. You push a button, the perfect song plays, right? It's all personalized. It's all AI enabled. Everything's getting, easier, simpler. But food is still kind of stuck in the 1970s. Right. It's complicated. People are struggling with, how do I find the right foods with the whole meal journey? How do I plan, shop, prepare, and cook every single day? And when they hit barriers, they just default back to, ordering a pizza, or they default back to, the same couple of, maybe unhealthy meals they've been making because it's too hard. And so this is the area that we really tackle. This was the question is, can we unlock the information inside of food to create a digital, almost GPS system, kind of like Waze, to help you with the left and right turns to map it. And, the challenge is that food is complicated and people are complicated. If you go to dinner, it takes 15 minutes to go around the table and everyone describes all their dietary and, allergies and everything else. And so, what we're trying to do is to kind of crack that and enable people to very easily find the right food. And we just launched an AI platform that's going to essentially build that in with safety rails to make sure that we're looking after the dietary aspects that do relate to health.
So what was the conversation that mattered? The one where you said, I definitely want to do something with food, to the point where you were like, okay, we're doing it. Who was it with and what was said?
So there was a buildup where I was the cook for the family. I was doing a lot of cooking for charity events and other things with chef friends of mine, and just realized that that this is a very powerful way to connect with people and to live better, is to constantly sort of be thinking and improve food. And I met my co-founder, who was CEO of Nestle and Unilever in various parts of the world. So he was
good
also
friends to have.
Yeah. He's running $10 billion food businesses. And, unlike a lot of the food industry, he was really a pioneer and an advocate for healthier eating. He was trying to transform and create a lot of healthier options in the food industry. And so he was working with governments and all sorts of nonprofits to do that. And so, I met him, and he had a vision for how food was going to get digitized, just like music or, sort of commerce or any of that. And so, we talked it through. And so I've been building and running companies in Silicon Valley, for, now 25 years. He'd been building food companies. So we kind of put food and tech together to try to provide that GPS, that help for people every day.
So what does that recipe, no pun, well, pun intended, that recipe look like? I mean, I'm good. This is more than just, hey, I'm ordering my groceries from Kroger online, right? And so you really want people to eat what they can, avoiding allergies and whatnot, but also eat healthy, right?
Right.
So, one of the things that we went really deep on, we did a year-long consumer research. We cooked with thousands of people. We really listened to, where they were struggling. And what we discovered is that it's a journey. There's a meal journey. It starts with what's for dinner. It's a simple question with a very complicated answer, right? Well, what are my diets? What are my health conditions? What are my allergies? What's in my fridge? What do I have for lunch? How many steps do I have? Do I need, 3,000 more steps to unlock the lasagna? So it's a complicated question. So this is where, we can have, sort of some algorithmic, computer help to help people sort through all of that, even just keeping up. I'll give you an example. One of the things that we deal with is allergies. And so, you can have, someone who's a paleo pescatarian who's, trying to cut down on sodium for heart health. They have 6 different allergies. If you have a corn allergy, there's 300 different chemical names that mean corn. So unless you have a PhD in chemistry, good luck reading the food label and really knowing what's in it. So that's the name of our company, Innit. So what's in it? What's in it for me? What's in it for us, for the planet? It really was meant to say that, hey, we're going to help, dive deeper and use these new information tools to empower people. And so, and we're doing that for, consumers in, in the food world, working with grocery stores, with the food brands, to bring those services. But then we've also now started to get much more serious on the health side. So one of our big, partners and clients is Roche. So Roche Diabetes, we have 100,000 patients that we have on this digital program, and it helps them with that meal journey. How do I plan what's for dinner? How do I find the right foods for my type 2 diabetes, plus all my other dietary needs? They can scan products and it'll bring back a personalized score for them that's tuned to type 2 diabetes. So, if something is manufactured, 2 things have the same ingredients, but one of them is manufactured puffed, like a corn puff, turns out it has a much higher glycemic index. So, there's a lot of subtlety, a lot of things that people struggle with to figure out what's the right food for me. And then finally, you get the right food, you've got a plan for dinner, how do you execute it? And so then we've worked with, the step-by-step videos and tools to make sure we can help you get that dinner successfully onto the plate. If it's not a success, if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to do it again. So we need to inspire people to eat healthier, but we have to make sure it tastes great. We have to make sure that we're removing the friction. So the technology platform we've been building is helping with those. So we can answer what's for dinner and recommend a meal or a meal plan that's tied to your diet. We help you shop the individual ingredients to look at all the allergies and score them and pick the best yogurt. There's 147 yogurts on the shelf. Which one? And so how do you cut through all of that noise? And then, we can, take, the recipe. Let's say you've got a healthy recipe and you want to, now cook it, but there's 14 ingredients. It's going to take you, all afternoon to go search them out and figure out which size and which type. And so what we've done is our, AI technology is mapping to the products that are in your store to automatically buy it with one click.
Well, coming up right here on the Heart of Innovation, we're going to hear more about Kevin Brown's recipe for success with Innit. So stay with us.
3 years ago, my symptoms started with leg pain and leg cramps while walking.
Me too, with a tightness in my calves.
Well, do you know, my doctor thought that my leg cramps were a side effect of the statin he prescribed me.
Well, my doctor just brushed them off as another symptom of old age.
Mine thought the pain was radiating from my spine.
My doctor blamed my neuropathy on diabetes until I got a wound on my foot that just wouldn't heal.
Yeah, it turns out we all have peripheral artery disease, also known as PAD.
It's plaque buildup mainly in the leg arteries causing poor circulation.
For me, the diagnosis came too late and I lost my leg, but that does not have to happen to you.
No, it does not, because there are treatment options available if you're diagnosed early enough.
PAD, peripheral artery disease. If you've been experiencing leg pain, leg cramps, or neuropathy when walking, and your doctor isn't hearing you, we are. We are the Way to My Heart, the largest support network for peripheral artery disease patients, and we want to help you get back on your feet again. Visit our website at thewaytomyheart.org or call our Leg Saver hotline 415-320-7138. Your life and limb could depend on it.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing our conversation with Kevin Brown, CEO of Innit. So, Kevin, before we went to break, you were kind of explaining your vision to us. I guess kind of allowing your artificial intelligence and the applications and everything that you're building to kind of sift through and eliminate all the noise with respect to, eating healthy. So this is more for people who just are struggling with kind of figuring out what they want to eat. And so is it less than, there's an app here, right? But I mean, you guys are trying to integrate with the current kind of platforms that exist as to how people, buy food or shop. Is that?
That's right.
It's almost like your computer's out there, you have Intel inside, and there's a little sticker. So you're just going to be in every single platform that's out there related to food.
That's right. This is a common problem for whether it's just people trying to eat healthier or whether it's over to people that are dealing with medical conditions. I mean, obviously in the United States, we've got more than 50% of adults with chronic diseases, most of which have diet components. So it's not a niche market. A lot of people need help with finding the right foods and eating healthier, and so that's where we've been doing deep investment over the years. We have 40 patents. We've spent millions of dollars on R&D to get the right help that we can embed when you're shopping, when you're looking at a recipe, when you're trying to manage a health condition. So that's cool.
Let's say I'm a type 2 diabetic and I'm struggling. How do I interact with what you're doing on a day-to-day basis or as I'm trying to figure out what to eat?
That's right. So with our free apps, called Innit and Shopwell, we have healthy recipes and cooking assistance. We've got the ability to scan products and get a personalized nutrition score, so you can essentially deal with all the complexity of your diet and allergies and everything, and net it out very quickly of, is this a good food for me? So we've made those available free, and then we're embedding this. So we just launched a new AI platform called FoodLM. And what it does is essentially, if you've been hearing about like ChatGPT and some of the new technology, you can ask it to make you a meal plan. So I typed in healthy lunch ideas for kids, peanut free, low sodium. the first recipe it came back with was lettuce wraps with peanut sauce. So they call it hallucinations. There's just a lot that, the new AI tools aren't, they're not equipped to really do the careful, sort of dietary help. And so what we're launching is a technology that can plug into that AI and provide safety rails. How do we make sure that we can, sort of look at someone's diet, look at their allergies, look at, healthy eating, but also what they're going to like, and how can the AI help them come up with an answer to that question of what's for dinner, and then, with one command, then go shop the groceries for you.
That's incredible. So as John was saying, like type 2 diabetic, let's say they wanted to find out about Roche's program, would they have to have their technology to have access to the actual program? I mean, right now they have to be in France, but hopefully they'll soon. I'm assuming it's a success and they're going to want to roll it out elsewhere.
Well, we've started in France. We have over 100,000 patients on it, and we've had really great engagement from the patients. Using it to get dietary advice, to figure it out. People with diabetes, type 2 diabetes in this case, you struggle a lot of the time to figure out what should I eat, what should I do. And sometimes kind of fall back to old habits. And so that's where we want to just be there for them, make it easy, and really give them that kind of easy button for finding really delicious foods. And
sorry to interrupt, but one of the things that Kim and I kind of strive to do is raise awareness for patients with peripheral arterial disease, and kind of prevent once I'm seeing patients and we're cleaning out their arteries, kind of the horses out of the barn. And so how do we kind of use this? I was just thinking about it. There's probably maybe 20 million Americans who are pre-diabetic. Is there any way to embed this in like an electronic medical record that, you then flag a patient who has elevated blood glucose levels, and then kind of get them to, because every time I see a patient, I'm like, hey, you got to eat healthy. Well, yeah, Mediterranean diet. And that's kind of the extent of my conversation. I was just, that to me seems like a way to kind of combat the diabetic, epidemic that we're facing.
So it's a great question. We're now starting to work with an interface with people in the medical community, whether this healthcare providers, it could be your insurance company. There's many organizations out there that are aligned, to make sure that we can do the prevention. It's 10x cheaper to prevent the problem than to treat it. Not to mention the health impact. So it's something that we're really passionate about. If we can embed this, we're already in a position where, like for example, with grocery stores, we're putting the personalized nutrition scores to help people pick the right foods. So if we can get to them then when they're shopping, when they're making those decisions every day, that can add up to a big impact on prevention.
It definitely can. We're coming up right here on the Heart of Innovation. We'll have more with Kevin Brown, founder and CEO of Innit. Stay with us. When it comes to peripheral artery disease, the pain is real. Friends, family, and even healthcare providers may not realize the extent to which it truly can and does impact your life, and therefore mental health. So what should you do? I'm Kim McNicholas, CEO of The Way to My Heart, with this week's Medical Notepad, sponsored by Cardiovascular Systems Incorporated's Patient Advocacy Campaign, Take a Stand Against Amputation. If you are having issues with pain that is impacting your mental health, number one, speak your truth. It's important to have an open and honest discussion with your physician, whether it's your primary care doctor or a vascular specialist, sooner rather than later. Make an appointment to simply address PAD and its impact on your mental well-being. They may first guide you to medications and lifestyle modifications that might help, but push for a referral to a psychologist, whether you need them at that time or not. Chances are there will come a time where the referral will come in handy. Many of us try to be strong and put on a happy face around those we love, so having a confidant outside of our family and social network can be a powerful outlet to candidly allow yourself to express what may feel like a very scary and painful journey. Secondly, join a support group for PAD online at community.thewaytomyheart.com. FoodLMTM.org, you'll find a variety of support groups for different aspects of this journey, including ones with physicians and nurses, to ones with peers who can relate to and share ideas on how to cope. You'll also find specific ones geared towards faith-based healing, smoking cessation, walking, and diet support. Thirdly, talk to family and friends about what it's like having PAD. Assure them that you want to socialize and participate in activities. Inform them of your limitations and ask for their understanding, support, and motivation. The worst thing you can do for your mental well-being is to isolate. Fourth, get a second opinion. If your pain is lifestyle limiting and your physician brushes it off saying walk, 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 and you are not seeing any improvement, get a second opinion from a highly skilled specialist to discuss additional options that might help to improve blood flow. With this week's Medical Notepad, I'm Kim McNicholas. Remember, the advice and views offered in this series are for informational and educational purposes only. Always check with your own healthcare provider before acting on any advice offered here. For more information on PAD, go to standagainsamputation.com. And for real-time support, go to thewaytomyheart.org.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for joining us on this beautiful Saturday. And during the break, Kevin and I and Kim, we were just kind of discussing, at least I was, it's all well and good to say, hey, we're going to get patients the healthiest foods and, the best this, that, and the other. But those types of foods are often pretty expensive. And a lot of my patients live on a budget and they struggle with, getting fresh produce and meats and fish. So, Kevin, how do you tackle that? You mentioned you have an inflation buster on the app. That's pretty cool. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, you're absolutely right. We have to not only figure out, what are healthy foods that people should eat, but then, how can they afford them? How do we make sure that it just all works for them and their family? And so one of the things that we build is, in addition to be able to figure out the right nutrition and, how do we work with your different health conditions and prevention and all that. But we also built it so when you click the button and want to buy the recipe and it'll go and find the products. So, for example, with Nestle, we connect into all the Walmart stores, which covers more than 90% of the population in the US, and it's very cost effective. And so we can go in and find the ingredients, but then we added this inflation buster feature so that it would also price shop them. So not only is it trying to look for the right ingredients, that meet your needs, but then to do a good job of finding the bargains and the value, so that you can really, instead of spending the hours sort of combing through things, you can quickly get to that answer and quickly get back with your family.
And is this cheap? Oh, go ahead, Kim.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, is this cheaper than what is it, HelloFresh or some of these? You can have people deliver you food, right? But I imagine that's expensive.
Well, so this is, the meal kit solved a big problem because, it said, hey, I'm going to shop for you and I'm going to, give you an idea for dinner. And what we're doing is, kind of the next generation of that, where we're pulling the food from your local store that, you pick up or that delivers to you. And so instead of shipping it 1,000 miles with 10 pounds of ice packs, that was not so sustainable. But this, it can come from your local store 2 miles away. And in the case of, some of the for example, in Texas, we're working with one of the big, chains, and there's the high end stores, the medium and the low end, value stores. And it's important to us to work with all of them to make sure that we can, really, sort of, unlock the, healthier eating, for everyone.
And I know that Douglas is on the line and is commenting about, being on a budget. He knows what's healthier, right? Douglas, you know what you should be eating, but being on a budget, where do you have to shop? Douglas?
Yeah, we have a Walmart here, but it's I find it hard living on a budget, creating a meal just for a single person without having to spend a lot on a big package, because that's all you can find. So it's finding that balance and having someone healthy find that balance for living on a budget and eating healthy for a single person.
So one just tip and trick, is we found out that, recipes need to be kind of customized and you can make them modular. So if you go to Chipotle and, then you pick which ingredients go into your burrito, right? How do you start to cook in a way like that? So I had a party earlier this week and I had people with all sorts of different diets. And so I made a vegan paella with, brown rice and vegetables, very, very inexpensive, very, very healthy. And then I layered on, would you like to have chicken with that, or mushrooms, or, a little cream sauce? And so then everyone, and what that also does is now you have leftover rice that you can, maybe, use in a different dish. And so I'll make a batch of that and I'll, sort of have it, show up in my lunch the following day. I'll sort of be able to use the ingredients. So it makes it easier than having to cook everything from scratch for every meal if you've got some things that you can use.
How do you help people to break those just long time habits? I know, for example, with my dad, he has heart disease. He's been on the show before, so he doesn't mind me talking about it. But one of the greatest challenges was reversing 78 years of habits. And one of the things that actually you and I had talked about in the early stages of when he was diagnosed is how do you just create those healthier substitutions for his favorite recipes? Taking these simple steps, such as just replacing the pasta with zucchini noodles or the bread with a cauliflower thin. How does your technology help people to make even their own favorite recipes just that much healthier, to start them on the path to a healthier diet?
So, it's a great question. If you think of it, we used to drive with paper maps, right? And, it was easy to get lost. It was kind of, complicated, arguments in the car always, flared up of like, where are we going? And, then when we got GPS, it just got a lot easier. It told you the left and right turns. It steered you around the traffic. And, even people that used to drive with paper maps, once you give them something that's easy enough and better, they'll sometimes, move over and change their habits. And so this is what's happening with, with technology, in particular with AI. In the next few years, you'll just, ask, Google or whoever it is, what's for dinner. And it'll take all of those factors into account and give you something that you're actually going to like, that you can actually afford. And so, this is directionally, technology is going to be able to be that GPS for us. And so we started, for example, with the Innit app, which we made available free, that lets you build your meal from the ingredients. So you can start with the meal, but then swap out the pasta, and put in brown rice. Or you can swap out the beef and let's do it with, salmon. So, what we want to do is start with inspiration, but then, recognize that people, they have different tastes or they have different things in their pantry. How do we, take that inspiration and then actually make it cookable?
So Kevin, let me ask you this real quick, because we only have about a minute or so left. Organic. Does it matter if I buy organic things or non-organic things?
So one of the things you can look at is, kind of the dirty 10 list.
The dirty 10.
see which foods it's going to make more of an impact. For some, it's more important. Okay. And so that's something that you can do and be targeted about it. I do buy some organic, but I don't buy only organic. So it's really a matter of where do you think you can, sort of reduce your risk a little bit, because you don't know kind of what's in it. And so that's the idea. But, if you can get healthy foods and, and do a lot, without having to go buy expensive organic.
Yeah, I know a lot of people struggle with it. We have Lawrence that's writing in about being on, food stamps. Any possible integration that you're looking at with the federal government and some of its food stamps, SNAP programs and the like?
Yes, we are. I can't get into it yet, but this is a really important topic, and that accessibility is something that I think is really part of our mission of how do we help everyone live and eat better.
Definitely. Well, coming up right here on The Heart of Innovation, we'll have some final thoughts from Kevin Brown, the founder and CEO of Innit. So stay with us.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome back, everybody. We only have a few minutes left. It's been a really fascinating show. But Kevin, it's been bugging me all show. What is your favorite thing to cook? And what do people come to your house to eat?
One of the things that I really love is salmon. Salmon is such a healthy food. If you cook it right, it's magical. And if you cook it another 90 seconds, it's a disaster. So that's one that I do love and I'm really thoughtful about it, and even use some technology to make sure that I'm just getting better and better at it. That's a really healthy food, and I'm also doing a lot with brown rice. One of the big research studies showed that lack of whole grains is the number one contributor to many different health conditions. So building in some of that whole grain, substituting the white rice and bringing in the brown rice, it can taste great, but we want to show people how to make it taste great.
And that's one of the things that's so interesting when he first launched the Innit app, and it was integrated into the smart kitchen. And that's one of the things, if you do have a smart kitchen, I don't have one, but it was fun going over there. The smart kitchen, where you have the app that can actually control the oven. So he had Michelin star chefs that were actually designing recipes, and you could literally tie it to your oven and it would cook it perfectly, tell you when to turn it over, etc. And it would turn out perfect every single time.
So I have it at my house. This is a little bit in the future when they're putting Wi-Fi chips into your ovens, and
I see.
And so we can kind of remote control them from the cloud and, sort of help with the cooking. So that's kind of a future state. We did the R&D, but what we saw is that, we could focus on the broader, problem of how do we get the right foods and build it into, the grocery shopping, into that whole journey. And then as people start to get those new products, we can use them and really make that part of it.
Does the future state consist of AI figuring out who's going to do the dishes?
I think that it should definitely figure it out.
I think that's what's key. But it's interesting that, you have all these great smart technologies going forward, but one of the really simple products that can make all the difference in the world, even for someone who's single, someone like, Douglas, who we had on earlier, one of our callers, the Instapot, the crock pot, you can do so much with that. And I know that your app has taught me so much about cooking in the Instapot, just these one pot meals.
Everyone's different on different days. On Friday night, maybe you're a really enthusiastic chef and you're going to go all out. But on Tuesday night, you got soccer practice with the kids, you've got all the distractions and so forth. So it's important to get a few meals that you can make that are, really reliable, really quick, only need a couple of minutes of intervention. The Instant Pot is a great way to do that. I make brown rice in there all the time.
You mentioned, I see you got Oculus goggles in the background there. Does that play a role in any of this stuff?
So in the future, again, we've done a lot of the R&D looking into the future, and then we kind of decide which order to build it. So when you end up getting your smart glasses, in a few years, and that they're going to be able to show you, hey, I recognize I'm looking at a cucumber. How do I slice it? Or looking at the shrimp in the pan of like, hey, it's time to flip them over. Future, you'll have more and more help that this will fit in. But we're really excited about, hey, everyone's got a smartphone today. Everyone, has got, sort of the basic tools. How do we, get them the help today?
So you want to turn everyone into a chef?
Well, at least we want to bring confidence, right? Gotcha. Not everyone needs to be a Michelin star chef, but it's really rewarding when you can pull together pretty quickly a delicious meal. It brings everyone together to the table, and you can feel really good if you're able to do that on your budget, where it tastes good and it's something that people can kind of keep up with. So those little changes can really add up to a lot of better health outcomes.
So, Kevin, if people want to find out where Innit is being integrated, where can they go to follow your journey to see if it's rolling out in their area?
That's right. Well, we can, invite everyone to Innit.com. We're going to be having updates there as we go. We just launched this new AI platform we call FoodLM. So it's meant to power, a lot of partners and customers. So as those are coming out, we'd love to point people in the right direction and, have them start to take advantage.
Thanks so much, Kevin, for joining us. Kevin Brown, founder and CEO of Innit. You can also just download their consumer app and check it out. That's Innit, INNIT. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You've been listening to The Heart of Innovation with Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips. Our mission is to help patients live a better quality of life through comprehensive education, real-time support, and high-touch advocacy in partnership with thewaytomyheart.org and Take a Stand Against Amputation. Our purpose is to reduce the 1.5 million heart attacks and strokes and nearly 200,000 amputations annually. For more information regarding topics you've heard discussed on today's program, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. The Heart of Innovation is for educational and informational purposes only, and advice and views shared are not a substitute for medical advice from your own supervising physician. Do not act on any information provided in this show without the explicit consent from your own healthcare team. If you think you are having a medical emergency, call your local emergency number or go to the nearest hospital or emergency room.